Hey, what are you doing with your face? Look at you. Hi, Nick Digilio. That's me. How are you? Thanks for checking out my videos, YouTube channel. Subscribe, like, subscribe. Tell your mom and your friends. A bunch of videos almost daily on the YouTube channel. I also share them on Patreon, which is a really important place for you to check out now and to donate. Please donate. Little monthly donations from $3, $6, $25 a month, whatever little bit helps. Donate today and you get bonus videos and materials that nobody else gets unless you become a patron and donate. Behind the scenes stories about what happened at WGN, the firing, the truth, what really happened, and more exclusive radio stories and more. But you have to donate and become a patron. Patreon.com/NickDShow. You can stop the video right now, go to that page, sign up, become a patron, donate, and you will be awesome. And it will be great. And I will really appreciate it. Go there now, patreon.com/NickDShow. Give what you can. It helps keep everything going. All that cool stuff. Patreon.com/NickDShow. My podcast every Tuesday and Friday. Absolutely new episodes from the Radio Misfits Podcast Network. It's called the Nick D Podcast. Okay, a couple of big movies open this weekend. And one of them is fucking great. And the other one is fucking terrible. So one's great, one's bad. And they are both sort of big releases for this spring weekend here in Chicago. Well, they're opening nationwide as well. Let's start out with the piece of crap, shall we? It's The Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent. This is the new wacky Nicolas Cage comedy, which is shit. Shit. And I don't know who this movie is made for. I don't quite understand what the whole deal is with it, except that it is a generic, wacky action comedy that tries to be clever and specific by having Nicolas Cage play a version of Nicolas Cage and throw a bunch of references to Nicolas Cage movies in it. But other than that, it is a awful, substandard, ridiculous comedy action movie about an actor who gets caught up in what could be a big drug operation, and he's used by the CIA and the FBI. This actor is used by the CIA and FBI to try and nail this big drug kingpin and stop murdering and kidnapping. There's a kidnapping, a political kidnapping. So all of this happens, and it's just this fish out of water Hollywood actor who gets caught up in the middle of it. And it is as generic and stupid a comedy as you will ever find. And the trick is that it's Nicolas Cage playing Nicolas Cage. But if you were to just basically take the name Nicolas Cage out of it, get a different actor, and remove all of the unnecessary and ridiculous references to Nicolas Cage movies or like lines of dialogue from Nicolas Cage movie, you would just have as generic a straight-to-video piece of shit, wacky action comedy as you will ever find. This is base crap. Nicolas Cage is in it playing a version of Nicolas Cage. Neil Patrick Harris plays his agent, who's like, hey, Nick, you spend a lot of money, and we all know this. Nicolas Cage has a reputation of spending a lot of money on a lot of stupid shit. He buys, like, two-headed snakes and dinosaur bones. He'll drop, like, $1 million here. He'll buy an island here and an island there. He's got some ex-wives that he owes money to, so he works all the time. He makes tons of movies, many of them shit, many of them straight to video, and all of this is sort of brought up in the movie. It's like, Neil Patrick Harris is like, look, dude, you're in debt, you owe a lot of money, you keep spending money that you don't have, you need to take this gig, and the gig is you'll get $1 million if you go to this island, and you hang out with this guy, and he will... He wants you to be a part of his birthday party. He's having a birthday party. If you show up, hang out on this island for a few days, he'll pay you $1 million. You pretend to be his friend, blah, blah, blah. And it's this rich guy. And it turns out that this rich guy might be, in fact, a drug kingpin, a gangster, badass, kidnapping people, cutting off heads, just a badass. And the guy is played by Pedro Pascal. So Nicolas Cage says yes because he's got to pay bills. He's got an ex-wife and a daughter, and he doesn't get along with his daughter because he always tries to force his taste upon his daughter. So he does it in order to fix the relationship with his ex-wife and his daughter, and mostly to pay off his debts and to do it. But he gets thrown into it, into this drug kingpin action subplot where he might be this Central American drug, czar, and he's got henchmen and killers and blah, blah, blah. And Ike Barinholtz and Tiffany Haddish play like CIA participants who suck Nicolas Cage in to go undercover and try and nail this bad guy, played by Pedro Pascal. They develop a friendship. Pedro Pascal and Nicolas Cage develop a friendship. He feels torn about nailing this guy because he doesn't think that he's actually a killer, and blah, 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 and wackiness ensues, and references to Nicolas Cage movies, and Nicolas Cage acting all crazy. Nicolas Cage, he has scenes with a younger version of Nicolas Cage, his younger self, computer generated to make Nicolas Cage look younger, and he's wearing his costume from Wild at Heart, so it's young, Wild at Heart Nicolas Cage talking to now older Nicolas Cage, kissing him and telling him what to do, and blah, blah, blah. It's all horse shit. It's written and directed by Tom Gore McCann, who made a movie called That Awkward Moment with Miles Teller, Michael B. Jordan, and Zac Efron from 8 years ago. Terrible, wacky sex comedy about three best buds who they get mad because one of the guys gets married and blah, blah, blah. Not good. He was also responsible for a TV series that lasted one season on Fox called Ghosted with Craig Robinson and Adam Scott. I watched maybe 4 episodes of that. Not good. This guy does not have the chops. He's not a good filmmaker. He can't cut action. He can't shoot action. And he certainly can't write comedy. The thing about this movie is that it is as dumb, like I said, as a straight-to-video stupid action comedy as you'll ever get. It just so happens to star Nicolas Cage playing a wacky version of Nicolas Cage. But this movie doesn't really know Nicolas Cage. My old producer, Tom Hush, he hasn't even seen the movie, and he described it thusly, perfectly. This is a movie that is not made by people who love Nicolas Cage as an actor and love his movies and the good movies that he's done. But this is a movie made by people who think that Nicolas Cage is a meme, is an internet meme. So, no, the bees and all the wacky shit that you think Nicolas Cage does, and references to movies like not even the good movies. There aren't any, Vampire's Kiss is never mentioned in this movie. Peggy Sue Got Married is never mentioned in this movie. A couple of movies are thrown out there, but The Croods are mentioned. Con Air is mentioned a million times. Face Off is mentioned a million times. Those aren't very good movies. They're not. And Nicolas Cage, if you love Nicolas Cage, you love movies like Mandy, which is actually mentioned, or Pig, which is not mentioned, Joe, which is never mentioned. To actually appreciate the talent that Nicolas Cage has, you need to know it, and they don't know it. So yes, it is made by people who think that Nicolas Cage is an internet meme and not a great actor with a great resume. Nicolas Cage, the movie makes all these comments about how Nicolas Cage keeps making shitty movies to pay bills, and he's got to stop that. He's got to get back to what he wants to do. He has to get back to playing great parts. He's up for a part, and he's going to get it, and he wants to get it. But they acknowledge, Neil Patrick Harris, who plays his manager, says, you keep making shitty movies. You work all the time. You make 70 movies a year, and they're all bad, and you keep making these dumb, stupid movies to just make money and pay your bills. So that's what they're saying. You have to stop making stupid movies to pay your bills, Nick. That's one of the points of the movie. But here's the thing. The unbearable weight of massive talent is precisely one of those stupid movies that he's making to pay the bills. That's what it is. This movie is one of those stupid fucking movies that he's making just to pay the bills. Now, he's making it seem like it's more important than that, by dropping in that he's Nicolas Cage playing Nicolas Cage. And he's doing the talk show circuit, which he never does. He hasn't done talk shows in 15 years. But he's been on the morning shows. He's been on the late night shows. He was on Kimmel. He was on Corden. He even did that stupid-ass jag-off singing in a car, asshole, talentless fuck show. So he's doing all the shows. He's doing what he needs to do. He's doing junkets. He's doing all that shit. He's pretending it's an important movie. But in fact, it is yet another piece of crap that Nicolas Cage can add to his resume filled with pieces of crap that he takes in order to make money. They comment on that. Oh yeah, you're making too many movies that are shitty just to make money. But you know what? The one that you're in now, this movie that I'm watching, this wacky, massive talent movie that I'm watching, it is yet another stupid piece of shit movie that he made just to make money. It is crap. Crap. Not funny, not good satire. Nicolas Cage just coasting as much as he could. And I don't know, I don't watch The Mandalorian. I've never heard of this Pedro Pascal guy ever. Ike Barinholtz is annoying and he gets killed off in it. Sorry to fucking ruin it for you, but fuck him. He's not funny in it. Tiffany Haddish is completely wasted. Neil Patrick Harris is sleepwalking through a role he's literally played 25 times. The action is bad. The comedy doesn't work. And I don't know who this Pedro Pascal guy is. I don't watch the fucking Mandalorian. But if watching this movie is any indication of how he is in The Mandalorian, I'm not going to watch The Mandalorian based upon his shitty performance in this. So, the massive weight, or the fucking, whatever it's called, the unbearable weight of massive talent is crap. It's a terrible Nicolas Cage movie to add to other terrible Nicolas Cage movies. Shit. Now, the good one is The Northman. The Northman is Robert Eggers' new movie. Robert Eggers is, they call him a visionary director, and you know what? He's a fucking visionary director. His first two movies were The Witch and The Lighthouse. Both great, both unique, both original, both pushing the envelope in every possible way in cinematic ways. He's a great filmmaker who comes up with original ideas and great stuff and blows a lot of, like, The Witch and The Lighthouse. These are original movies that blow the water, that blow all these other movies out of the water. The Witch is one of the best horror movies. And all these fucking people who are like, this elevated horror thing, oh, the elevated horror, blah, 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 fuck off. You know why it's called elevated horror? Because it's actually making the genre. Movies like The Witch and It Follows and The Babadook, they're making Hereditary, for Christ's sake, Hereditary, one of the greatest horror movies ever made. They're actually making the horror genre better. They're improving it. They're making it more intelligent. They're actually demanding intelligence from the audience. And many people are just not capable of giving that intelligence to filmmakers like Ari Aster in Hereditary and Robert Eggers in The Witch. All of these people who are bitching, A24 is a pretentious company. Fuck you. They make great movies. They make smart movies. They're beyond you. That's what it comes down to. All the people bitching about elevated horror, all the slasher people, all the Friday the 13th people who are like, elevated horror, blah, blah, all that shit in Scream, in the last Scream movie, where they have characters who are bitching about elevated horror. Well, you know what? It's elevated because it's actually making the genre more intelligent. And you know what? It's beyond you. So this movie's not for you. Okay? It's not for you. Go home and watch Friday the 13th, part 9 again, and not try to expand your fucking mind a little bit by watching great movies like The Witch or The Babadook or It Follows, or Hereditary, which is one of the greatest horror films and smartest and scariest horror films ever made. So fuck you if you don't like the elevated stuff, and if you don't like Robert Eggers. Don't see The Northman. You don't deserve to see it. Quite frankly, it's not made for you because you don't deserve to see it. So The Northman is a Viking epic. Fantastic. Simple plot. Kid who is a prince. The king is played by Ethan Hawke. The queen is played by Nicole Kidman. As a kid, the prince witnesses his uncle kill the kid's father, the king, so that he can inherit the throne. He takes the queen, played by Nicole Kidman, kidnaps her, kills his father, and the kid runs away. Everybody thinks he's dead. They think the kid is dead. And then basically this kid is planning his vengeance. He is going to save his mother, he is going to avenge his father, and he's going to kill his uncle, and he is going to inherit the kingdom that was taken from him by his uncle. So basically, kid witnesses dad getting killed. It's Hamlet, basically. It's basically Hamlet, and Eggers doesn't make any bones about it. He doesn't hide that. The character's name is Prince Amleth. So he basically took Hamlet, took the H from the beginning, and put it at the end of the name. So he's not hiding it. There are Shakespearean references throughout the movie. There are Shakespearean plays that are elements of Shakespearean plays taken and sprinkled throughout the movie. It's very Shakespearean in style, in story, in tone. There's a ton of Hamlet in it. There's a ton of Richard III in it. There's a bunch of Macbeth in it. All of it, a huge chunk of Macbeth is in it as well, and Hamlet, and he makes no bones about it. It's a Shakespearean, Viking, action, fucking bloody, muddy epic, and it fucking rules. Alexander Skarsgård plays the adult version of this prince who goes basically into slavery in order to get close to this king who was his uncle, just so he can plan his revenge and play mind games with him and build it all up to this big battle scene that's going to happen, that's hopefully going to happen between him and his uncle. He's going to kill his uncle, he's going to avenge his father's death and save his mother. And his mother is played by Nicole Kidman in a fucking great performance. All is forgiven for those terrible Hulu shows that she did, the awful, embarrassing AMC commercials that she does, and all is forgiven for her embarrassing performance as Lucille Ball in that stupid Aaron Sorkin Lucy piece of shit movie. All is forgiven. She's phenomenal in this movie. Nicole Kidman's best performance in years and years and years. She's got one scene, particularly about 3/4 of the way through this movie, one of the best acted scenes she's ever done, one of the key moments in the movie where the movie turns on a dime at everything she does and everything she says. Nicole Kidman is a fucking godsend in this movie. She's great. Ethan Hawke, small part, great. Willem Dafoe plays the jester, the court jester, who also has weird psychic abilities. There's all kinds of weird ceremonies in this movie. Bjork is in it as a psychic seer. Anya Taylor-Joy, who was in The Witch, is fantastic as Olga, who is a fellow slave, who develops sort of a romantic relationship with the main character played by Alexander Skarsgård. Alexander Skarsgård's fantastic in this movie. Big, built as hell, killing guys, chopping off heads, blood, mud, boom. There are long, incredible battle sequences in this movie that are incredibly well shot, beautifully edited, action-packed, brings you right into the action. This is as immersive a movie as you will ever see. You feel like you are in the mud, that you are in the middle of the battle, the blood, the guts, the gore, the mud. You are there. He recreates this era perfectly and very, very authentically. If you go back and look at The Witch, if you go back and look at The Lighthouse, Robert Eggers prides himself on going back, making these movies that take place at a very specific time, doing insane research on them and getting every detail right, and making movies that feel like you are there. When you watch The Witch, you felt like you were in that time period. It felt like you were taken away. Same thing with The Lighthouse, same thing with this. You are taken away to a completely different period of time, to a completely different land, in and around Iceland, although it was shot in beautiful Ireland, most of it. But but the details of the time period are fucking amazing. The research that he did to bring this to life, to make it as authentic as possible, is stunning and jaw-dropping. The acting is great. The battle sequences are amazing. There is an incredible sort of sports scene. There's this sport called Nadelcure, which is kind of a combination of hockey and lacrosse and hurling, except with murder. So take all that shit, put it out on a muddy, icy terrain, play a game that was a combination of hurling and lacrosse and hockey, only you get to fucking kill the guys on the field with you. There's a long sequence of that. There's like a long, sports scene in the middle of the movie that's amazing. That also kicks the plot off. All of the action scenes help to actually kick the plot going. It actually, makes the stakes deeper and deeper and deeper until you get to that one incredible scene that involves Nicole Kidman and Alexander Skarsgård, which, again, one of the best scenes that Nicole Kidman has ever acted in. Blows away anything she's done in the past, 10 years. Easy. So on every level, this movie kicks ass. It's playing in 35 millimeter at the Music Box. I'm going to go see it again there. Seen it twice already. It is absolutely one of the best movies of the year. It is big and bold and epic. It's beautifully photographed. Incredible cinematography. Incredible action sequences. Everything about this movie is big and bold. It's just a big, bloody, fucking Viking attack, blood, gore, awesome movie. It's like if you love those movies in the 80s, in the 80s when we had the sword and sorcery movies, when Conan the Barbarian, and every other week a big sword and sorcery fucking epic came out. If you like those movies, you're going to feel like you're back in the theater in 1982 watching those movies, and this is as quintessential and as great an example of a badass sword and fucking sorcery, epic Viking kick-ass movie. The term kick-ass was made for a movie like this. The Northman. It's as good as it gets. Big, bloody, bold battles. Fucking epic. Viking, kick-ass. Loved it. Loved every frame of it. Robert Eggers is one of the best filmmakers on the planet. He's 3 for 3, and with this third movie, he's made a statement. Hey, I'm Robert Eggers, and I'm one of the best filmmakers on the planet. He's doing a remake of Nosferatu next with Willem Dafoe, who's been in 2 of his 3 films. And anything that this guy does is worth not only looking at, but studying and watching and just loving. Robert Eggers, a visionary director. They're saying that in the credits and in the commercials. So this time it actually fits. So other times when people say, hey, the visionary director, blah, blah, blah. No, it's not. This guy really is. He's the shit. He's the deal. And The Northman is big, bad, bold, badass, bloody, epic, fucking Viking. Boom! In your goddamn face, kick-ass, badass movie. Loved every frame of it. So, The Northman, one of the best movies of the year. The massive pile of shit, epic, massive talent Nick Cage movie, one of the worst movies of the year. It's easy to make a decision. Go see The Northman. All right? There you go. Northman, baby. Kick ass.